It's been a while, guys. It has been a while. We are back. Today we are going over some ParentPreneur missteps, some big top questions that I've had, and we're just gonna go through it. Let's go ahead and make this happen. All right, first question. How do I build a business without sacrificing time with my kids? I ask myself this question all the time, daily, weekly, monthly. It's like, it's a scale that just kind of goes back and forth. You're trying to find the right balance there. And I think the best way to go about finding work-life balance is honestly time blocking. Making non-negotiable blocks in your day are gonna be super crucial for you maintaining the consistency that's needed to be a good father, a good mother, a good husband, wife, partner, whatever. If you are a contractor or an entrepreneur, you pretty much have full control over all of your time, and that's a beautiful freedom. Like I'm all about it. I love that I have time freedom. That doesn't mean that you can do absolutely everything, anything that you want all the time, because there's responsibilities. But it does mean that you can look at your calendar and say, I'm gonna do this today, or I'm gonna do this this week, or I'm gonna do this every single day. You have freedom to do that. Most people, they just go on autopilot. I know I went on autopilot for a very long time. And so what I do is I have blocks in my calendar, just like work, that are, one is actually 2 blocks for the kids. One is called Brotherhood Time, and one is called like Dad One-on-One Time. Okay, Dad One-on-One Time is kind of self-explanatory. It's where I get with each of my kids each day and make sure I spend some time with them doing whatever it is that they are wanting to do, whether they're wanting to play a video game, or they want to talk about this, or they want to do story time. That is Dad One-on-One Time. And I also recently created a new block of time called Brotherhood Time. I noticed that there was a lot of just segmentation in the household, a lot of bickering, a lot of not like honestly vibing out as brothers and hanging out and chilling, you know what I mean? And I wanted to kind of go about doing that and try to figure out how to bring the kids together. But not only that, a very big thing that you can do as you're rating tasks that you should do or not do is you can rate them on, have several different systems, but specifically the RICE scoring system. This is not my own, but this is, just look it up, RICE, stands for impact, or reach, impact, confidence, and effort in hours, okay? And so, for instance, if we take the example of dad time, one-on-one, let's call the reach 1, because that's 1 kid. The impact, let's call it a 10. Let's just max it all the way out to a 10, right? 10's the best. These are 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 for the impact and the confidence. Reach can be as big as what it's supposed to be, and then hours are as big as it actually takes. So again, reach is 1 because it's 1 kid. Impact, let's put it at a 10. Confidence that we can do this, make this happen, let's put it at like a 7, okay? And then for effort, let's just say this is 30 minutes that we're hanging out and spending time, okay? Do the quick math. Very quickly, we have 1 times 10 times 7, 1 second, times 7, and then you divide the effort 0.5. Okay, so that scores a 140, which is not bad. It's a pretty good score. But if we take like the Brotherhood Time, and again, the biggest score is honestly the winner in this kind of system, the RICE system. Let's say for me, reach is 6 because I have 6 boys, times the impact. Let's give it a 7 versus a 10, and then times confidence that it'll go well, let's just put it at a 5. I mean, I think it'll go well, but I'm just gonna put it at a 5 just to kind of give it a little lower score. And then what we do is we divide that by the time that it takes, which is 1 hour. And we score a 210. So pretty much like doing Brotherhood Time, and this can get exponential, but doing Brotherhood Time is actually double the overall RICE score than doing one-on-one time. Why is that? Even when we have lower confidence and even lower impact, because it's impacting more people, it's reaching more people, overall it actually gives us higher. And so I think it's important to have like that one-on-one time, but very important to do group time, because group time can scale. You can scale up group time, you can do things together and still have an impact on your kids. But one-on-one time is a 1-to-1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. And so as I had, as we've got 6 kids, that's how I like to cut it. With work, figuring out how much you want to work each day. Like you can say, okay, I want to work 8 hours, or I want to work 10 hours, or I want to work 12 hours. But the truth of the matter is, when you're working, work is, my God, there's so many things here. Work is all about leverage, okay? Leverage is how much output you get out of your input, okay? And so if I do, let's say, 10 hours of work and I get 10 outputs of whatever that might mean, whether that's, actually we'll put some real dollars to this. Let's say I work 10 hours and I'm getting paid, and this is an opportunity vehicle, and I'm getting paid $20 an hour, then it took me 10 hours to make $200. But if I have a higher opportunity vehicle, my leverage is higher, and I'm getting paid $40 an hour, or I find an opportunity that does pay me $40 an hour consistently, then I can do 5 hours of work and still get the same amount of output. Or if I work the same 10 hours, I'd get double the output. So it's not about maxing out your hours completely. Like, I'm all about filling up all my hours, but that stops, right? You have the same amount of hours as everyone else does. And so I'm all about figuring out how can I double, triple, quadruple, 10x, 100x the leverage that I have on my time. And that way, in a real sense, truly, and I did this example in one of the deep dives that'll be coming out on the channel, about how using AI actually 48x's anything, a lot of the things that you're doing. For instance, I'll give you the same example I made in the video. Let's say it takes me 8 hours to write a contract and actually get it all like to where I want it to be. 1, I don't write contracts every single day. 2, I'm not, it's not my cup of tea, etc. It may take me 8 hours. It may take you half day, but for me, it would take 8 hours. Now, for ChatGPT, I can go and take all this stuff and go in and say, I need a contract for XYZ. And it may take me 10 minutes to refine that and get it to where I want it to be. Again, this is not legal advice and lawyer, blase, blah, I'll do that. I'll do all that stuff. But it took me 10 minutes with ChatGPT and 8 hours with like doing it on my own. And if we really just translate that, all we have to do is say 8 hours times 60, because how many minutes? It's 480 minutes. And then what we do is we divide 480 minutes by the amount of time, the amount of minutes that it took ChatGPT to do it. Divide by 10, 48. That's 48x the leverage. If you could 48x your income, 48x your time, like that you get back, like why would you not do that? We're over here working on working on like 10% increment changes or 20% improvements when you literally can 48x everything. Just saying. And then what you do is you combine that with other leverage, whether it's code or content. This is a form of leverage because I can make it once and then distribute it. And you get multipliers on multipliers on multipliers on multipliers. We have a dog right next to us in the car. So we're gonna keep on going, but please, we're at Dunkin' right now in the parking lot. And we got some rowdy little dogs, little tiny pups. Anyways, onward. So next question, that's how I would handle like the balance. Am I doing enough as both a parent and entrepreneur, or am I failing at both? Look, I'm not going to get into the failing is good and all that, because it is, but like it can be a lot. It can feel like a lot because you're trying to show up and do your best as a parent, as a husband, as as a partner. You're also trying to move the needle forward on income. Most times you're doing two different businesses at the same time. You're doing your now and your next, right? You're probably working a gig job, or you're employed for somebody, or you have a major contract with someone that you're doing, but you have the next thing that you're trying to get off the ground. Your YouTube channel, your TikTok, your agency, your fitness training, coaching business. Don't know, got me. And so in a real sense, a lot of this can be super overwhelming every single day, because you feel as though you're dropping balls, or you feel like you're not showing up as best as you can in different areas. And everything can feel like a fire. Everything can feel as though you're Sparky over there. Everything can feel so urgent. And that's where I come back to the Eisenhower, President Eisenhower method, where he pretty much has a system, or had a system, called Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, that allowed us to be okay with fires and scheduled tasks and delegating things to other people to get off our plates, and also like Netflixing and chilling. He didn't have Netflix and chill at that time, I don't think. Of course not. But essentially his system is Q1 is things that are urgent and important. His thing was do now. And then you have things that are important, not urgent. That's pretty much everything that you do almost, like your work that you do, you're going to the gym, you're hanging out with your kids. That's Q2, and he wanted to stay in Q2 as much as possible, according to ChatGPT. And then you have Q3, things that you can delegate off your plate. The who, not how. I'm actually reading that book right now. Who's a better person to do this than now? If you combine that with Dan Martell's book of Buying Back Your Time, what you could do is take how much money that you make per day. Let's say that you make $200 per day. And this is not exactly how he does it, but it's I'm paraphrasing and kind of like simplifying the math. Essentially, his idea is that whatever you make per hour, let's say you make $40 per hour, you then have a buyback rate of $10, four times less than what you make. And any task that can be done for $10, any task that can be done for $10, you should definitely offload that to somebody else, because your time is worth $40 an hour. Another way you could say this is, if you make $200 an hour, if you make $200 a day, 25% of that pay is $50, meaning that every single day you could have $50 to pay someone else to do something that you don't actually want to do. That way it buys back your time of you actually having to do that task, right? So cutting the grass or whatever. This is not exactly apples to apples, but I've used it to simplify how I do my math, allowing me to think not how to do every single thing all the time, but who's the right fit? Who's the right fit? Who can do my breaks? Who can do my who can do this project for me? Who can, like, DoorDash can be the who, and like buying you delivering food to your door, all sorts of different things. But anyways, delegation. And then you have Q4, which is all about things that are not important and not urgent. This could be Netflix and chilling, hanging out, or this could be deleting a lot of things. A lot of things just aren't important. So delete all the things that you just in general that are not important. and not urgent. And then if there's anything left, like just kicking it and watching a movie or whatever and hanging out, like that, you know, keep that stuff, hang out. But if you do this, if you break up your task into these different quadrants, you'll realize that you'll always have things that are urgent, that need to be done, always urgent and important, always fires that need to be put out. And then you have your scheduled times that you can move the needle, which are the Q2s. Time with the family, time on the business, time on the next business, all that stuff. And what I personally do, and this has been a big game changer, and I've only been doing it for like a week, is 8 to 10 is my Q1 firefighting section, okay? I drop the kids off at school, and then from 8 to 10, all the things that are urgent and important on my list, let's say overdue projects, let's say maybe a massive bill needs to be paid, like anything that's overdue / important / urgent, like all that stuff combined, whatever, and you can rate this with different systems. I spend those 2 hours doing that. That way, I'm firefighting at the very I wouldn't say the very beginning of my day, but I'm able to firefight and put out these fires instead of these fires spreading and becoming bigger and bigger issues. There's always going to be Murphy's Law. There's always going to be more and more fires that need to be put out. So why do we not put blocks in our day to just take care of the fires? That being said, I don't start my day firefighting. I actually start my day roughly at like 4 a.m. And so from like 4 a.m. to 7 a.m., I have that scheduled time for me to work on what's important but not urgent. All right, onward to the next question. How do I deal with guilt when I'm working instead of parenting, or vice versa? You know, like, it's all about being present, I think. If you don't really block your time, you'll always be thinking about doing the other thing versus being present in the moment where you need to be. Right now, I'm present with you guys. Of course, there can be like little ticklers or whatever that you're thinking about. Okay, this is, after this, I need to do this. But doing your best to just show up and be present in whatever it is that you're doing. You know, whether you're doing, you know, fulfillment, or you're doing reach, or actually, I'll give you a quick rundown of how I'm currently actually time blocking. So this is a little sneak peek. Don't quote me on this next week, because things may change. I'm a big person that I change my schedule a lot. But we have a new acronym, and it is, we got what in, let's see, let me bring it up here. So that you guys have this really quickly. It is gauge, bring it up, filter. Almost there. Conversations on chat, running forever. Okay, here we go. It's the acronym is REFINE, okay? So reach, engage, filter, implement, nurture, eject. What does all that mean? Well, very simply put, I'll tell you the acronym, the original kind of basis of this, and then I'll kind of go back into refine. Is typically there's 4 different problems that you have. And knowing what problem you're in or where you're at, like, that's super important. So if you don't have any business, right? You don't have anyone coming in the door. That's a marketing problem, okay? It's a lead problem. Let's say you have a lot of people coming in the door, but no one's buying. That's a conversion problem. That's, you know, sales problem, conversion problem. Let's say that you have people coming in the door, they're buying, but they're cranky and upset and not okay and all that stuff. That's a fulfillment problem, okay? And so your product isn't that good and you need to work on that. Now, let's say that you get through them coming and they convert and you deliver for them, but they don't come back. that's like that's a ascension problem. You know, your product was one time, but they're not coming back, so now you got to get new customers every single time. You can apply this to anything in life, and again, I'll come back to refine in a minute. But like, if you think about, like, if you have no friends, or you have the same friends and they're shit friends. Again, I have all these thoughts and talks in my head. Like, it's not that you're a bad person or you're a terrible person. Like, the question is am I reaching out, and am I actually looking for new friends? Am I actually pursuing new friends? That's a marketing issue. If you have no new people that you're engaging with coming through the door, that's a marketing issue. Then the people that you talk to, do they actually want to be your friend and convert to being your friend? That's conversion. Like, if you reach out to a whole bunch of people and everyone's like, yeah, nah, then that just means that the promise of your friendship is not that enticing. Just being honest. Then here's another kicker, right? Fulfillment. Or you made a promise that you'll be a good friend, but then you're not really a good friend, like, and you're a bad friend. That's a fulfillment issue. You look at that, you get a lot of people that want to be your friend, they then become your friend, and then they fall out the back door. That's fulfillment. That is people that they tried you and they said, no, not for me. So you work on yourself and being a better friend, okay? And then the ascension part of that is actually more just about deepening a relationship. Most people stay or come back, like Dunkin' Donuts over here, because they get it right each time, and each time it deepens the relationship. So you can actually work on, even though you showed up and were a good friend today, were you a good friend tomorrow? Are you a good friend in a week? Are you a good friend in a month, right? All these can be applied to this kind of 4 LCDM method. I call it, originally when I was making it, was leads, conversion, deliver. So I'm delivering on my promise, and then more, which is just like doing the thing more and more. But I realized that there was actually a couple of holes in this system that I didn't account for. And I actually added 2 other steps into it. So there's reach, engage, filter, implement, nurture, eject. Okay, I don't have the other hand. So reach, like, originally I was just saying leads, but reach is actually 2 different parts. Like, it's how many people that you're reaching, right? The impact. So I make this video, then how many people does this go out to? That it actually reaches. And then engaged means how many people commented. How many people are actually interested out of the people that it was reached, right? You can reach out to a lot of people to be your friend, but how many people responded and said, that doesn't mean that they're going to be your friend. It just means that they responded to your message, but they at least showed some sort of engagement. Okay, so that's the R is reach, E engagement. We put down F for filter, not the greatest one. I was trying to make it acronym, but filter pretty much stands for like conversion, like you are filtering people in. We'll probably change that in the future. But that's all it is. You're closing people. You've converted them to being your friend. Then I for implement, which is the same thing as you delivering on your promise. You implement your friendship, you implement your product, you deliver on your product pretty much. And then, right, after that, N is nurture. So you just build a better relationship. And now here goes the other kicker that I did not take account for, is E for eject, or in business terms, churn. And this is actually self-churn, not churned by your customers. This is you saying, I'm going to refine things weekly. I'm going to refine things monthly, right? Let's just say that your print delivery, which is implement, you're capped at 10 people, right? You can't accept any more people. But what you can do is say, who are the bottom 2 people right now that are just causing me problems? You can say, those 2 people, I'm going to look to replace those 2 people because they're not actually bringing value. And then as far as the marketing, the reach, the engagement, and the filter part of that, you're filtering down the best 2 people that would be the best part, that could come into your world, your system. So let's say you have 10 friends, and 2 out of 10 are shit. You may be on the lookout for 2 other ones with this system that then will replace them. And it may not be replaced, but you just stop it's not gonna, like, the relationship is not really gonna go that far or go anywhere. So you're churning them out of your capped 10 people and replacing them with 2 other people that are going to be a better fit. You know, people just change, you know, different lifestyles, different things like that. It's not that anyone's a bad specific person, it's just like not the right fit. And that's okay. So you cap the implementation, you cap the delivery, you cap the fulfillment, all those are the same thing. And then you have a system that's always crystallizing, bringing in better talent, better people. And then you always have a system that filters out the bottom, you know, because holding on to bad relationships is not a good thing, or bad clients, or bad whatever. I say all this, easy to say, not always the easiest to do, but I come back to say, and then I think, let's see, coming back to our question here that we were talking about, the question was, how do I deal with guilt when I'm working instead of parenting, or vice versa? Like we said, you time block and do that stuff, but then what happens is you do your best to improve that time, right? So with me doing the business and me filtering through, I'm trying to always filter for the best relationships and also be a better person, being a better at implementing what I say I'm gonna do, keeping to my promises. So in all the cases, you can always improve. You may have to start with shit and not great people and not great whatever, or you have no people coming in the door, or you're not great at home, or you're not a great emotionally available person or whatever. But you can absolutely improve if you run this system, refine. Like, you can figure out where your actual problem is and improve. At home, obviously, you're not looking to replace anybody. Like, you got your wife and you got your kids, so you're not bringing anyone in more into the door. So you don't need to worry about your reach. You don't need to worry about your like specifically the engagement, you also don't have to worry specifically about the conversion, but you do need to worry about your implementation. How well do you show up? You also need to worry about your nurturing, how well you're nurturing the relationships. And those are the 2 variables there. All the other ones like may apply to all these other relationships that come and go in your life, but the ones that are absolutely fixed, you're not filtering for anyone new. You got to show up and keep your promises. This is like talking to myself. You got to, nurture those relationships every single day. You might have showed up and we're a good dad today, but are you a good dad tomorrow? Are you a good dad the next day? Are you a good dad the next day? Like, you got to do that. Are you a good bad husband today? But you can improve. You can be good husband tomorrow and keep on keeping with that consistency, which is nurturing that relationship over and over and over again. All right, I think I'm gonna wrap there. This has been a lot of fun. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting what I do. Just this parentpreneur, just trying to learn, just learning from his mistakes day to day. Hopefully they help you and save you time. All right, take care. Bye.